Hello, 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 and welcome to the Rag Company DETALKSCAST, a part of the Rag Company podcast. Anyway, we've got some great guests with us. We have Jason Rose, and we've got Dylan Von Kleist, or Kleist, or however you want to pronounce it, which is
Kleist.
the right way.
It gets butchered left and right.
All right, okay, I'll try not to butcher it. Anyway, we've got these guys here. They know a thing or two about polishing and polishers, so we figured what better place than RUPES to come and talk about it. I mean, you guys want to
We're at the USA HQ.
Yeah, by the way, I should say we are actually at the U.S. facility.
We're in the boardroom, hanging out,
it's pretty nice.
Business decisions.
Yeah.
This is the ivory tower.
I quite like it.
It's comfortable.
But I think we've got some questions for you guys. You know, just
some good topics.
All around, because this is a pretty cool facility. I mean, not gonna lie, it's been pretty impressive going around.
We've gotten to hang out. We've gotten to do some little bit of training. We've gotten to play with machines. We've gotten to host an in-house
machines.
Yeah, we did. Cool. That was for a RUPES fanboy like myself. That was a treat.
And we really appreciate the free labor. We
well, we got 3 more, but then we took them. So.
Yeah. By the way, I need you guys downstairs for like a couple more.
There's another graveyard shift.
I've been meaning to speak to you about your productivity, Mr. Gates.
You guys come in and there's like a bunch of half-built, like we're opposite the quality.
This one's got a handle on both ends.
It's not supposed to be like the top of a cyclo. What is this? So I guess what we want to get into is, we're sure many people that are watching this or listening to this are familiar with you guys, but we are here visiting for the week, and we kind of want to talk about what we've done, what people can do here in the future, and then kind of go into talking about a lot of new tools. So what did we do? What did you walk us through? What did you walk us through? And what can these people listening and watching do here in the future?
Well, I'll start and then I'll hand them off to you since I did most of the work anyways. Just kidding. So we did the basic tour, which is something that anybody who is, we don't take just walk-ins, but if you want to contact us in advance and say, hey, I'm going to be in the area on such and such date, I'd love to come check out the facility, we'll make sure we got somebody, if it's not myself, Jason, someone available, and we'll show you the whole thing. You get to, like you guys saw, I mean, we will walk you through where the customer service team is, we walk you through manufacturing and see kind of the hubbub going on back there while they're pumping out tools. Yeah, into the academy, we'll walk you past Jason's office where we keep him locked up during business hours. And it's glass, so you can see him, and there's a big "Don't Feed the Bears" sign on it. But
unless it's green M&Ms.
Yeah, you slide the green M&Ms under the door. But yeah, so you can have this kind of, you know, we can do a 10-15 minute walk around. We've had people show up here since we've opened. They were in town, they reached out and said, hey, I'm going to be there tomorrow. Can I do a quick, if you're only in town, you're like, for here for something else, you want to just see it because you're nearby, happy to have you and show you kind of what's going on.
Make sure you email ahead of time because...
Don't just walk in.
Well, these guys are always traveling, so, I mean, you may be on their date and nobody's here.
Yeah.
And you get a tour from the receptionist.
It's got to be prearranged.
It won't be as eventful and fun.
Yeah. And then if you're here more than 15 minminutes, we put you to work.
Yeah, you actually start building culture. Don't threaten me with a good time. So we've got that, and then obviously the kind of the crown jewel of the whole facility beyond the manufacturing part, the part that people get excited about is where we did our Wash Wednesday and where you guys did all your training is the Bigfoot Academy, and so I'll hand it off to you for that because that's your domain.
Yeah,
I'm just living in it.
So it's obviously a brand new facility, less than 3 months old and 2 years in the making, and it in some ways it mirrors some of the aspects and features we have in our academy in Milan, Italy. And then there's a couple of things that are different, but it's, if you can think of, you know, a training environment and dream up, you know, what would be the best features you can have to have the most effective education, and we plug those in. And it's actually in some ways a fully functioning, or has a capability to be a fully functioning detail center with the wash bay and the paint correction area and things that a detail center has.
Yeah, so if this whole tool selling thing doesn't work out for us.
We can detail cars.
Start detailing cars. All right. I think we're doing okay, though. I think we're going to be all right, at least for the next couple weeks. And it's been fun because I get to kind of, as a marketing guy, I get to back up what he's doing. So And the number one question will be, people are going to listen to this, and then I'm going to get like 8 million emails like,
when?
How much? How? I want to come right now. So the best way to get a hold of us is go to the new website, which to mirror the new building, there is a brand new website, RUPESUSA.com. It's just for the U.S., North America.
It's a fancy website. It's got some cool graphics.
Pretty snazzy.
Our marketing guy is good.
Yeah, he's really good. You know him?
He should get a raise.
Oh, you're saying he knows a guy.
I know a guy who knows a guy.
He knows a guy. He's that guy.
Yeah, that guy died. But go to the contact us tab on there if you're just curious about asking about a tour or something like that, and a bunch of us are copied. But there is an events tab, so we're putting currently everything, including events here or elsewhere, because we're all over the country doing stuff. And there is right now an under construction section for the Bigfoot Academy that will have a more planned out kind of regular schedule, what classes we're going to be doing on very specific dates that you can register for. It's a good sized facility. We can have a large group, but there are limits. I mean, the fire marshal's going to, if we do a 300 person training, fire marshal's going to come and shut us down. So, but if you contact us and we're like, hey, that's booked up, there's going to be more. So don't stress.
So the main answer is just kind of stay in tune with the website, because as we confirm events, we're plugging them into the website.
Yep.
Very cool, very cool. So we played with a lot of new polishers, a lot of some really cool polishers that we had yet to touch. We've seen pictures of them, we've seen them on your website, but actually physically using
and they
them
were out
was
at
fun.
a couple of them were at SEMA, but we were so busy we never got a chance to get.
That is
when
true.
we'd come over, we'd all just hang out and talk with you guys.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we're like, oh crap, we got to get back.
Our booth's swamped. We
on fire. We gotta run. We gotta go. So we actually never got to actually play with them.
Yep,
so this was the first time for us to be able to utilize the melee and the rotary. And then last night we got to play with the new triple action pneumatics.
So we're happy that you guys came. It was pretty fun, and I'm glad to see the looks on your faces when you tried new stuff.
That was good.
I think we all had different reactions. I mean, Levi, was using the rotary, and he felt pretty much right at home picking that thing up,
took
and
him back,
it took him back, but he's like, this is smooth as he looks at everybody. And then my first time ever using a pneumatic and using the triple action, and I felt like I was back at home revving the engine on my motorcycle.
You don't want to use anything else.
It was like power was in my hands. I had that crazy look in my eye.
Yeah, that when you started cackling like an evil genius, that was kind of weird, dude. You should stop that.
Well, I wanted a second one. I wanted to dual weld these bad boys.
Did you hear him? There's something about taking over the world or something?
It was a small segment.
I was scared.
But
no one could stop me.
In the wash bay, was that the first time you had used a car wash wand?
Oh no! Well, Jason, this is Jason's. Really digging deep there. Just put the knife in and twist it if you must.
Anthony pulled the trigger and got launched up into the ceiling.
So luckily nothing broke. So now it won't be known as Window Wednesday because nothing broke. So it's still Wash Wednesday.
I love it.
It's still Wash Wednesday.
Yes, we when using the pressure washer inside the wash bay, I may have forgot to check the fitting on the end before pressing the trigger, and it may have just shot off and bounced off of Dylan's window. Now, luckily, just the window.
Why do I have video footage?
It was. You don't. I have deleted that. It is gone.
Now.
But
hypothetically.
So thank you, Jason. That was thank you for letting me relive that. But so that was a lot of fun. We got to so the wash bay was really cool though, because you guys have a dedicated, almost like a pre-rinse foam gun essentially, which you had a magnesium chloride cleaner in there. You guys had an actual foam cannon for the wand itself, and we were able to wash the cars and do everything in the wash bay.
And spot-free water.
Spot-free water. That's the biggest thing. I think a lot of people will be happy to know that.
And this is that would have been the first Wash Wednesday in a wash bay, right?
Yes.
That is.
Yep.
So as I've dubbed it, Wash Bay Wednesday.
Wash Bay Wednesday.
It'll be the one and only. That's how you come back, at least.
Yeah, we're going to put that B, replace that in there. But, so we did that. We played with the tools. I know Dane got to check some stuff out. And,
it's been fun. It's really been fun. And I really enjoyed, since I'm not, necessarily detailer extraordinaire like these two are. I end up filming a lot of it, so I've seen enough stuff to know when they're genuinely excited about something. So when they actually see
they're not faking it.
He's over here playing with the pneumatic tools, going, "This is like a 2-stroke motorcycle."
Seriously,
losing it over time.
I mean, if, like,
so when he was going nuts, it was motorcycles on the brain, but it was fun to watch.
It was good.
So what's fun about watching your guys' reaction and everything, because with towels, there's a lot of science behind microfiber towels, and people, as you educate your customers, there's a lot of aha moments like, oh wow, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, or people touch a certain towel for the first time, they're like, oh,
that's why this
is nice.
And these are machines that polish paint, but as you learned in the last few days, there's a lot of science behind this stuff.
Absolutely, because we built our machines.
Yeah, we got to build them.
That was the experience that I guess you can put a price on it, but to us, it was such a big experience with us being big RUPES fanboys and users of RUPES machines. It was seeing it being from start to finish was crazy, and having Fletch there, who was our guide out there in the
Fletch
factory.
Is the man.
He's the man. He was so patient with us. I mean, he's like a gentle giant because we're like a bunch of kindergartners trying to put things together with little pamphlets, and he's like, "Oh no, guys, come on! You're gonna put this here, put this here." And I'm like, "You're so nice. I would have."
He's the most patient.
That's very strange. Normally, he just hits people in the back of the head. So you must have endeared yourself to him in some way.
Something different. But,
sometimes we go back there and there's parts flying. Fletch is that again?
And you make a good point though. We want people, and there is talks currently. Your experience is unique. We don't let everybody go back there and build it. You obviously have a platform in which that's valuable for us to get that information out, because we want people to know there's not a big conveyor belt and just a machine that drops ribbons and polishers out of it, right?
No.
Every single nut and bolt, everything is done by a human being using. I mean, the only automation really is the drivers are all air driven, but they're set to specific torque specs depending on what stage of the process they're on, right?
That was about as advanced as it got in that whole line.
Exactly.
It took us hours and hours, so we understand.
And you're new, so I mean, you'll get better the longer we keep you here and force you to build our tools.
By tomorrow, you'll be doing it.
Like we're leaving tomorrow, though, and you guys are like, you are door locks.
So how do you put somebody on the do not fly list? That's what I want to know. But there is consideration, and I can't make any commitment to this, but there's been an idea kicked around because your experience, and there's been a few other VIPs that have gotten to come through and build their own tools, and we do it for distributors a lot. A new distributor comes in for training. We want them to be able to help service the tools, and there's no better way to understand how to service a tool than to build it from start to finish, because then when something goes wrong or a guy drops something and you need to fix it, you can recall, like, oh yeah, I remember, that's this stage of the build. But there may be in the future, to get everybody all excited, we may actually have something we're dubbing the Bigfoot experience. That may be a training package for an individual that would include the ability to come in and build your own tool from start to finish. So it's in the works, which would be a super cool experience for the people who are, like you said, RUPES fanboys. And it's such a negative term to be like fanboy, but
no, it's true.
If you're a fanboy for no reason, just because you like the color red, that's one reason. But if you actually are a fanboy because
it made me a lot of money.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why
you know what? It's so weird. I'm a fan of money too.
Yeah,
I use it.
It made my life a lot easier. It made my customers a lot happier, and it made my employees money. They're able to buy houses and cars and all that. And that's why
the quality of the build, and that was something that we found out firsthand.
Not yours.
Literally. Hey, mine came out okay.
To be clear, all of the tools ran when they were done.
It worked. It passed.
They just don't come with a warranty.
I have to come back and fix it myself.
It's always funny when these guys come out of there and they plug your tool in. We step back a little bit.
Hold on.
Okay, wait, go ahead, fire it up.
Fletch is like cranking up to speed 6 as he's putting on goggles, and he's like, "All right,
I'm going to stand behind this wall while you test
springs and stuff."
But we were just impressed, like like you said, every single little screw, every single little piece, and part of the motor, and us actually physically doing the wiring and doing the electrical stuff.
Well, and that was a big one for me. So
I've
like most detailers, swapped out brushes like crazy, or swapped out power cords on my own machines, and I always was wondering what was behind
what goes a little deeper than that,
and stuff, and go like, what? Oh, it's probably just
I'm afraid to touch the
wires. I don't want to do it. And then actually do it and go, oh, that was a piece of cake. Okay, all right, I'm not so scared of my machine anymore. You know,
it's well thought out, and it's weird when you see the guts of everything kind of spread on a table. You go, gotta put all of that in there. But it is extremely well. I mean, our Italian buddies over there, man, they engineered that thing down to a science. The tolerances are just.
They make a mean manual.
Yeah, exactly. And so, it's you guys met Steve, and Steve he's made multiple trips over to Italy, and he's trained in the factory. No better place to learn than the place that actually originated it, and we build them here to the exact same spec. So I should probably clarify that the tools that are made here are exactly identical in every way, shape, and form and spec, other than their voltage, obviously, and what they're designed to work for, than the ones that come out of Italy. So other than what it says on the serial number plate, which is assembled in the US from EU components, because we still source a lot of the parts from the Italian headquarters, a tool built here will perform and act and feel and look identical in every way, shape, and form to one that came out of the Italian factory, which is it's cool, because that means that you're getting the same quality regardless.
Well, and even to the point that, you know, maybe some people are like, yeah, but it's still not fully American parts. Like, it's still a hand-built tool.
Yeah. And we've got some
it's literally
tight tolerances and controls on our quality. I mean, it's not like these are not off-the-shelf parts. I mean, this is, I mean, in terms of what it is, these are bespoke parts. You cannot go find an LHR 21 eccentric set. You know, it doesn't exist. The motors are wound in-house, and I mean, we're never going to source those. We make our own motors in Italy. They ship them over here for these tools. So, and they are wound very specifically and tuned for that specific tool. It's not just some generic off-the-shelf grinder motor that some factory goes, well, it makes the thing spin, let's put it in there. It's built to be a part of that polisher. So it's as close as you can be to being a bespoke polisher. I mean, obviously it's a production unit now. Every part within it is unique to
that
RUPES.
tool.
Yeah, and even just the actual, I mean, assembly tools, what you're using, the placement of putting a tool onto this jig, essentially. I say, I looked at, you know, Fletch, I said, who designed this? Where is this even? He's like, oh, well, it's from Italy, obviously. This is what they made.
The wooden jig.
The wooden jig. They carved this, they handmade it to fit this specific machine at this angle to do this certain task. Because you have to get this screw at this angle, and there's no other way to do it that's going to be, you know, efficient and safe and work well unless you do it that way. And I say that's a lot of time and effort put into something.
Somebody thought that all
the way through, and it was cool because I've seen
that's
tools
what
I've never seen.
Well, that's what makes it different from, you know, the cheap knockoffs.
And that's you bring it to a good point.
In reality, because that's one of those things that people see on social media like crazy is, why should I spend the money on a RUPES polisher?
Why, this one looks almost the same.
It looks
as if they copied it.
It has the same. It says 21 mm. It says 15 mm. You know,
it's so weird that all the copies, even though they're, you know, unique tools, you know, nobody bothered to do a 22 millimeter or a 20 millimeter. They all seem to have done exactly the same things that we did. 21's an odd number just to settle on. It's almost as if you just copied it because it was easier that way.
Something like that. But,
wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
But it's funny you see it, Levi, because
quotations.
We'll, you know, on social media all day long, we'll see people, you know, that make comments and on posts of people, you know, posting up their RUPES polishers, doing a detailed job in something, and people will say, oh, you know, I wish I could afford one of those polishers, or, you know, those are a little bit out of my price range. And I kind of sit there, and now more than ever, I sit there and I think, you know, I can't wrap my head around why people would say that, you know, after I've put all that work into there. And granted, not everybody can do what we did and build these things, but I think it's a good topic to talk about. You know, the difference between what you're getting with a RUPES versus getting with these cheaper polishers, and what goes into it.
Well, I'll start out.
And what's affordable.
First, just a comment about pricing and price strategy in general. Because I think anybody who buys any product, they are aware that prices tend to be stratified. And it's stratified for a reason. And there are actually brands that are positioned in certain parts of that hierarchy of price points. Like, for example, I personally am in the market to buy a trailer, and I've identified a brand and a model that is fantastic, and I just love it, and I recognize the quality in the unit, but I've also decided I'm not going to pay that price. Now, it doesn't make that product a bad product, because I've decided I'm not going to play at that level, I'm going to play at a different level. So the reason I bring that up is that the first thing to say about a discussion about price with our tools is the Bigfoot tool is not for everybody. You know, the Bigfoot tool is simply not for everybody. And there are places in other price points that would be fine for other people. I think you mentioned earlier the scenario of a car enthusiast, weekend warrior, they want to polish their car once a year.
Yeah.
You know?
There's a lot of them. There's a lot of those people out there that want something good though, still.
And it's a buy right or buy twice kind of thing. So I mean, if your budget is $100 and that's just, I mean, it's a financial strain for you to spend more than that, but you still want to buy, there is no shame in going and buying a Harbor Freight 6-inch DA. I don't fault anybody for that. It's if that's what where you're playing at. But don't go and expect
don't
high
try
quality.
and equate everything.
Yeah, it's practically. I mean, you go. There's running jokes. It's like almost a disposable tool. It's like, well, I can buy 2 of them. You know, so the first one breaks, I have a second one ready to go. Right?
It is true. He's not wrong.
But the expectation is, and there's nothing wrong. That's to his point. The price stratification is they've come in here and nobody buys that tool and gets angry when it breaks because it was like. With the coupon, I got it for like $60.
Well, the issue that comes up though is when somebody buys the Geo Metro car, whatever car you want to put in that price point, and expects the BMW performance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's where there's an issue.
Yeah,
the cheap, fast, reliable pick 2.
Yeah, exactly.
Or then putting a lot of money into that cheaper thing, which now. Just to be at that same level of the more expensive thing, you've hit that price point, right? People upgrade backing plates, do some motor mods, do some things like that. Next thing you know, they're in it just as much as they would have if they would have just started the right way.
Well, and I remember it was a shock when I first bought my first one. It was, okay, how do I figure out how we pay for this in the shop? Because that's how I paid for everything. Mm-hmm. Let me break this down, see how much money it basically will cost me, and I figured out it was very nominal. Mm-hmm. Once I realized how much faster I could do things, how much quicker, how much better correction I could get out of it, how much I could charge more because of the job that I was doing on the car, because I was saving time and money, all of a sudden I was making more. And so it was like, oh, well then now this is silly not to.
Yep.
So then it was like, done. We buy it, we used it for like 6 months, bought the second one, used that. Same thing, another 6 months go by, oh, there's a new machine out, let's grab one of those, and then it was like, not a problem, because the machines work, the machines did the job, and they were making us money. So,
and you said it when I was out in Idaho, I think in one of the ones we recorded there, you buy you don't buy the tool, you buy what the tool does for you, right? We use Kevin Davis's helper belt as an example. Yeah, it's a $100 belt, but if you say it like that, it's like, well, that seems crazy. It's not what you buy, that's a $100 belt that allows you to save. Kevin will probably kill me because I can't remember what he says.
30 minutes per detail.
30 minutes per detail. Okay, so
and there's people that have bought his belt 6 years ago and they still have it on their waist. Mm-hmm. That same unit.
Yeah. So you say, okay, well, if my rate is $50 an hour and it saves me 30 minutes, I just put $25 in my pocket.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. And you've used it for 6 years. Yeah. It's paid for itself 10 times over.
Many times.
And so and it's like, to your point again, it's stratified, and even we have some stratification. When the Mark IIs came out, we reduced the prices on the ESs and kept that alive as a little bit. It's still not
an easier gate of entry.
Yeah, exactly. So you can, for under $300, you can get an LHR 15 ES, which is the first generation ES tool. Still an awesome tool for an enthusiast. It doesn't have the power of the Mark II. It doesn't have all the cool, the bumper feature where you can turn it upside down and it stays, and that kind of stuff. But if you are, again, an enthusiast, and you're at $100 or $150 even, let's say, could you double down and get the better tool and only buy it once? Yeah. It's not a stretch for a lot of people. If you are a guy just starting out in a detail business, I really, really hope that you can make up the cost of a $300 polisher within a few jobs. Because if you can't, you've made a horrible mistake and you should change jobs. Because the money that you can get with a very basic, even if it's not a full correction, a one step should cover the cost of that tool in about a job. So there's, and again, I'm not going to bash on guys who are buying the cheap knockoffs. If that is all that you have in your budget, great. But the last thing I would do as a professional and a business owner is want to put myself in a situation where I'm relying on a tool that comes with absolutely zero warranty support. There's no one I can call in this country that will pick up the phone or write an email and answer a question for me. I can't send it anywhere for service. It just, you're setting yourself up for failure because who knows, that cheap tool might last you a while. It could, you never know. But the second it goes sideways and you've got a and this is crazy as it sounds, I know there's guys who brag in one post about booking a $2,000 correction and coating job, and then in another post complain that the price of RUPES is too high.
Yeah.
And so they're going to go buy the cheap knockoff. Well, would you like to lose that $2,500, $2,000 appointment because your tool on the last job just before that one crapped out and you can't get a new one fast enough?
Yeah.
It seems kind of like a crazy proposition. If anybody is a halfway intelligent business owner, you put that scenario in front of them and go, absolutely not. We at least can help you through fixing it and all those kind of things. We offer support, and we would hope that the tool is going to be reliable enough in the first place that if it ever has to come to that. But it shouldn't if you're buying the right tool the first time.
And actually, this whole price conversation, I used to get this a lot more prior to the Mark II version, which is interesting because that's a higher price point. It's it's like $100 more for that upgrade. But what's interesting to me is the interaction I have with customers. The ES version, I had a lot more of this price discussion, but when the Mark II came out, it's kind of like you put that in somebody's hands, and if they have a chance to use that, the price thing just kind of goes out of their mind. They're like, oh, well.
Well, a lot of the price objections that I read about are people who have never tried one before.
Yeah.
And that's how it worked with me. Was I bought the first one in the state of Idaho, and then used that. And if anybody was like, "What kind of polisher is that?" I'd have them come over. Come on over, man. Other detailers would see it and go, "Where you find you bought one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, come over and play with it." And they would play with it. They go, "Okay, all right, I need one of those."
I get it.
By the way, has that one gone back into service at all, or is it still just a trophy?
Well, I used it to polish my Camry. So
okay. So for those that don't know, Levi's beloved orange. So for the RUPES nerds out there, an orange sugar tool is like the OG.
Yeah.
Like the OG ones, right? Not Obsessed Garage, but like original gangster.
Yeah.
Original gangster. Inside joke. But he sent it in, and we gave it like it's he didn't want to lose it. It had so many hours. It was just like when I saw it, it was like holy hell! Like it was like. It's in pieces.
It was
almost sad to see him like it's done too much. We can't let it go. So it came in here and it got like the full rebuild. We're like, it's like the $10 million man or something. Like it's stronger and faster than it was before.
Yeah, it got a whole new body, which was amazing. It got new internals. It got all new stuff, and then I really liked the old casing on it because it was beaten. It was rubbed raw.
Battle scars.
It had a patina to it because of all my employees that had used it. And all of the hours that were on that machine and the number of replacements, and it had a story.
Got some soul.
It had that, and I didn't want those to just get junked, and so I was like, can we try and put them back together?
Resurrection.
And it was really great because you guys took it, sent it back, and it came in 2 boxes. I was like, well, that's weird. Open the first box. There's a brand new machine with my orange trigger, and I was like, oh.
Oh, you got to keep the orange trigger.
Yeah. Open the next box, and there is my very own Art of Bigfoot that I can hang on my wall that is all put together and ready to go, but it's all patinaed. It's got the Rag Company sticker on it that's just been worn from so many hands. And it's a perfect piece. It's a perfect wall art, and yet I still have a polisher to use.
Yeah, and the guts of the one that's got the new housing on it is still... It's the original guts, so the heart of that one is still going. I mean, it's got new parts here and there to fix some things, but the soul of that tool is still living on its new casing.
Still rocking and rolling 6 years later, and I can't even count the number. It's probably, I think it did, I counted up just in my head, on an average, it was about 4,000 cars it had polished.
Just a few.
in under 6 years.
No big deal.
So, oh my gosh.
He did some work.
Tool,
but a $300 tool that touched...
Are you sure it's worth it?
Yeah. That touched that many cars, cleaned that many, did that many jobs, provided that much amount of income. If I totaled it all up, it would have easily been, $750,000 in that time period of polishing jobs that it had done.
You should keep that tool because when we go on to like Mark III and Mark IV versions,
I plan on it.
You could sell that tool for like 20 times more than you
could buy it back for the museum. One of those days.
Go back to the Smithsonian or something.
Yeah. And this ties together. We talked about this again, and keep going back to my last trip to Idaho, which will be coming up again soon. But we talked about my $50 detail article, and it just begs a question. All these guys that would complain about the price of a $300, $400 polisher, not even ours. I mean, there are other polishers on the market that cost that much. It's not just us. I'm not going. RUPES is, the
most expensive.
But do you think those detailers would appreciate it if their customers come in and they drop a quote, let's say it's correction and coating, and go, yeah, it's $1,800. Customer goes,
$1,800.
Well, there's this guy over here that does the same thing. It looks almost the same, and he does it for $180.
Yeah.
I mean, detailers hate that, right? That is the most common complaint. Like, I can't, oh God, these guys, they don't even, that's not a real detail, but they're saying that's the same thing. Well, that's exactly what you're doing to us, guys. So how do you like it? No, I'm just kidding. but it is the same thing, though. You are doing that exact same thing that your customers are doing to you. So if you don't like it, why should you do it anywhere else? So again, it's the $50 detail article all over again. Yeah. But it's that mentality, and it's just kind of funny. There's that disconnect, and I've pointed that out for a few guys, and it's like,
why do I need to spend the money on that when this polisher does just as good a job for way less
Some
money?
things are expensive for the sake of being expensive, but you guys are so clear in the R&D and the science and everything that goes into this stuff, and we got to see it firsthand.
And a training academy, and people who answer the phones, and guys like him and I that you have access to as a customer of RUPES who's bought a tool, our distributor network, all of that carries some level of overhead,
it's
right?
A value add.
We didn't build a fancy building on the profits and go, we got them. It's not. This facility is set up to support our customers. That's the entire idea. We wanted an academy. We're not charging people to come here and train. So this is a benefit of that, and everything is rolled into that. There's nothing wrong. You want to go buy the cheap one, just don't expect, to his point, don't buy the cheap car and expect expensive car performance.
Right.
You're not going to buy that knockoff tool and have a facility somewhere to go to train in. You're not going to have access to us. If you call me and say, hey, so I bought this generic tool, it looks just like a RUPES, could you give me some pointers? I'm going to say, I have generic support available for you.
Yes.
And what it is I copy and paste a blank document.
I thought you were going to say Google, but
I send you a Google.
Yeah, I send you a Google link. Here, go Google it. So all these things kind of get wrapped up in that, and warranty and all those things. Those all carry overhead, just like your detailing business carries overhead. If you have a shop, you have to keep the electricity on. You have employees, you have to pay them and provide them with insurance and all that kind of stuff. That all gets factored into your pricing. Same thing happens for us here. If the more value we add into the system for you, obviously the price of the tool on top of the quality is going to have to reflect that to some degree or another.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and even if it has to come down to you, I mean, working on it, like book a separate job on like a job that you're not even counting on doing, and just say, I'm doing this job to buy my RUPES, and just do it that way. There's so many different ways to justify.
Put it on a credit card, do the job, and then take the money from that and pay the credit card off.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
we do not have for financing, by the
way. Somebody hits you up and say, hey, I need this car done, and if you're planning on taking that Saturday off to go, I don't know, go to a bar, go eat some food somewhere or something like that. You could say, I could go do that, or I could just take that job, go buy this polisher I've been wanting to do it that way.
Yeah.
You know, like, I
mean, Anthony's not even a professional detailer. Yeah. Like, as a job.
Yeah.
But that's what you did.
That's what I did. I had a job that came up, and I was going to pay several $100s, and I took on that job. I wanted to do other things that weekend, by the way. I wanted to go and...
But you also wanted to purchase a RUPES.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to go ride my motorcycle and all this, but I'm like, you know what? If I just do this job, I can just go buy my tool, and then that's it. That's the last tool I'm going to need to buy. I don't need to buy any other. I mean, unless I just want the whole lineup, that is. But it's.
He didn't buy a Nano right after that.
So I'll talk about that later. But anyways, so and I just did it. I just justified it like that. It's all about how you allocate your money. I mean, and it has made every single detail just so much better, so much faster.
It goes back to my point. Once you see the price isn't that bad.
No, it's not.
Guys get shocked by that sticker price, but they don't realize, oh, well, it's something that's going to make me money.
Yeah.
It's something that's going to pay itself back. We're going to do all right. I had mine for 6 years.
And then worst case scenario, all right, this is another thing, okay, because I'm one of those buying and selling fiends, right? I'm always buying and selling stuff. I'm that guy that does all that kind of stuff.
eBay.
But
Everything.
Worst case scenario, right? You buy this polisher, it isn't for you, right? You're like, it's not for me.
I'm sure there's a few people that take it off your hands.
You would post that even for $50 less, you would sell that in an instant.
Yeah, because guys want a second one for the guy that they've hired, or they want a backup just in case something happens, or they're going to have two guys working occasionally, but they don't need a full price
the other
polisher.
truck. Oh no.
Yeah.
You're losing little to no money.
I can hear, even though this video is not uploaded yet, or this podcast is uploaded, I can hear the comment section is on fire with people going, "Rag Company's just shilling for RUPES."
Yeah,
that's not you're missing the point if you're that guy.
No, but it goes back to us and towels.
It goes to everything. It's your towels. You know? It's the quality of the chemicals you use. Sure, you could wash every car with Dawn dish detergent.
Yeah.
I mean, you could.
And that's cheap.
It's cheap.
Yeah.
There are plenty of cheap soaps out there.
Yeah.
But what's the cost in efficiency? What's the cost in quality? These kind of things.
Yeah.
So it's not just, don't get it twisted, comment section people, trolls. I'm going to wash a car with a ring on.
Yeah.
It's coming.
And a watch. It's not just polishers. There's so many facets of everything. And my favorite saying about this is price is what you pay and value is what you get for your money.
Yep.
And so, yeah, sure, you can go get the cheap stuff if you're willing to sacrifice on some things. You can also buy the expensive stuff. You can overpay in some cases. Sometimes you buy stuff that is unnecessarily expensive for what you're trying to do. You have to balance that price and value proposition for your business and make the right decision. If every decision you make is just what's the cheapest thing I can use, do not be angry when your customers come to you and reject your pricing
For something
to something
price.
to get a detail cheaper.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's how it's going to be.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Sounds fair.
And there's people out there that will make videos or will put out posts of information of trying to help the people that are struggling, right? The people that'll say, hey, I found this that's so much cheaper, right? And you could get this, and they try to help the little guy out, right? But sometimes that isn't always helpful. Sometimes that's kind of the opposite of help, and they're just I don't know. And
sending people down a road where you're being programmed to shop on price, and we're
that's exactly
that's
what
the
it
digital
is.
world today, though. That's the world of Amazon. Things. We're a very price conscious culture, and I'm not even saying don't go shopping for the best deal. If there's something that you want, you shouldn't just instantly pay the highest price for it. I mean, shop. Everybody does that. You go, well, I want the RUPES melee. I wonder who's got a good deal on it. I'm going to warn you now that it's going to be pretty consistent. We have MAP pricing on our products, but somebody might have a deal where they, you buy this bundle and you get get this.
You get a bag and you get some pads.
Yeah,
and
there might be
value
or you might be able to buy from a guy locally, and then you can actually go in there. Maybe he's got one you can try before you buy it, which is a cool thing. I mean, that's why we have local.
I don't think they're winding up in too many pawn shops, so probably don't.
No, the pawn shop is not going to be
It just goes back to yes, find it, shop your price, whatever you need to do, but spend the money once, get something that works, rather than
define your
spend the
target
money
of
twice,
quality.
2 or 3 times to have the machines break.
It worked the whole year.
It was a piece of junk.
And if you do buy, it kind of comes down to it's kind of the same thing with towels, right? Say you do start off with some cheap towels and you buy some cheap towels, and then you buy your nice towels, right? We're not telling you to throw your cheap towels away. Maybe make those your wheel towels, make those your cleanup towels, your shop towels, right? You buy your starter polisher, whatever that may be, and if you want to go cheap, buy the cheap polisher. You're eventually going to want something nicer. Then you're going to buy your nice polisher.
Yeah.
We're not telling you to go throw your cheap polisher away. Throw a different backing plate. Use it for a different job.
Or it becomes your backup tool in case something or your buddy is going to help you, like things we were talking about before. Or sell it for a couple of bucks and recoup some money. I mean, there's again. I always feel like when we get on these subjects that we're like, people are going to be like, oh man, they were harping on me for buying the knockoff. We're never that way. I see plenty of guys. There's plenty of guys I know that I'm friends with on social media, and know personally even, that have gone out and bought cheap ones. I don't hate them for it. I mean, it's your decision. Just don't come crying to me when it breaks. I'm like,
that's fine. My kids don't need to eat at night. That's fine.
I'll just, I guess it's Taco Bell for a month again.
That's right.
So I think that's a lot of good information for everybody out there. I think it wraps up kind of what we wanted to talk about in this podcast. I mean, is anybody else?
Fun week, guys.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure getting to hang out with you guys. And
thank you.
Shaking hands on a podcast.
Hey,
nobody can see it.
All hands in the middle. Go team.
All right,
Dane. By the way, if you're watching this on YouTube, then you can't see it. But that's besides the point. Anyway. Thank you so much for listening. It's been a great time here at RUPES.
Thank you for hosting us. Thank you for letting us come.
Back.
Yep.
As far as building tools, don't count on us for making many more.
Yeah.
But it was a great experience. But it's one of those where you do it once, you're like, I got it.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you guys for listening. And until next time, this is us saying adios.
See ya.
All right. See you guys.